It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back. We got another video suggested by one of you guys in the Discord community, so shout out to Cozy for suggesting this one. Now this one's from Evil Vora, titled Shoulder the Burden Rant. And I was just going to talk about a couple of talking points. We're not covering the full video. It's linked in the description so you can actually support his channel, watch his video. I just wanted to hear a couple things, talk about it. Let's go ahead and get into it.
There's something that I've been wanting to get off my chest for a while. There's a perk that I hate more than anything in all of DBD. The most broken perk in the game. From killer or survivor side, there's no perk that even comes close. Shoulder the burden. The fact that shoulder the burden can be on multiple people in one match is beyond me and completely unfair. Survivors should only be left with, 3 hook states, 3 strikes, that's it. The fact that survivors can take 4 or even 5 hook states is completely broken.
That is 100% correct. I have to agree with Bora on that. I think that a perk like Shoulder the Burden completely destroys the entire gameplay loop of the game. It completely destroys the entire structure of what the game stands on. As Bora had stated, 3 strikes, you're out. It's as simple as that. 3 strikes, that's it. You're done. And it makes sense that there's consequence for your actions. If you fuck up 3 times in a row, which is plenty of opportunities at that point. If you fuck up that many times and you die, then that's all you. That's you. You failed. Or you did your job, you did the best that you could, and unfortunately you died. Hey, that's how it goes. Now, the problem is, though, is that because of the way the development team is approaching the game, they decided that they wanted to focus on the casuals that are not interested in trying to play, not interested in trying to actually make the game balanced for both sides, or are trying to actually make a game that people can have actual skill expression. They're interested in trying to cater to the hyper casual survivor players that load into a game and don't have any DLCs, don't have anything unlocked, don't have any playtime, and they want the game to be super padded out so that literally anyone can pretty much be blindfolded and still be able to get free escapes. And that's just essentially what they're trying to do. That's what we're noticing. That's what we can notice with the patch notes. We can notice that with the drop in kill rate. We can notice that with the event. We can notice that with the slopification of the game as it is. Like, there's so many ways that the game proves that it's not interested in trying to create an experience, but more as to milk the product and milk the survivor players for what they're worth, due to all of the abundance of cosmetics that they can easily just get free, cash from. So a lot of cash flow. And if the numbers are correct, if we understand that the sable skin, the bikini skin, whatever it's called, was the highest purchased skin in the game. We're talking like, out of every cosmetic in the game, that was the most purchased cosmetic in the entire game. Of course, like, behavior is seeing dollar signs. They're like, yo, we know exactly where to get the money from. We know exactly how to line our pockets. We focus on these survivor players, and we can basically milk them for what they're worth. And we can continue to do that by constantly catering and focusing on those kinds of players with each and every change that only offers hand-holding and the removal of any killer autonomy, removal of anything that the killer will be able to do, alongside with every change that they've offered, including the additional times on hooks, the additional endurance off of hook with haste, which also allows for free escapes at endgame. God, like, because you decided or to 12 hook or whatever it may be, or you just didn't have a good match, which due to the perk, balancing, which is as we're talking about today with Shoulder the Burden, one of many examples, but I think Shoulder the Burden is one of the most fundamental perks that break the entire game for what it's worth. Like, it boils down to as simple as, like, 3 strikes, you're out. But then 3 strikes become 6 strikes. Then it becomes way above than where it should be. And the argument that a lot of Survivor players want to run with is, oh, but you never see that. Oh, but and only good players know how to use that. Or, oh, I never see it get used good. I'm like, okay, like that doesn't really mean that the perk is not abusable. Like, I've had numerous times where Shoulder the Burden has destroyed all pressure because the gens are so fast. You need somebody out to at least try to maybe go for a tie. You can't even get a tie at that point because everyone's now 1 hook. And it's funny because they say, oh, but 12 hook, right? Yet by the time you're getting 4 hooks on 4 separate players, there's only 2 gens left. So what time does somebody have, theoretically, to go for a brand new round of hooks and then a brand new round again to get everybody out of the game when there's only 5 minutes to play a match? Survivor players have made it their mission to only have 5-minute games. So the next question then becomes, what are we doing? Like, what are we trying to accomplish here? What is the goal? That's ultimately the question. So let's continue.
There's not much a killer can do. For those of you guys that don't know what Shoulder the Burden is, it's pretty much a Survivor perk where they can take a hook state for another survivor, so it makes a tunnel out completely impossible and very difficult in certain situations. And the fact that it can be ran on multiple survivors makes it to where, as a killer, you cannot focus a body out. And if you don't get a body out within 2 generators, you're going to lose the game. It's just that simple. Unless the team completely fumbles, or you snowball out of nowhere, or you go for a full slug out and just get full on lucky, which is very rare. It's ideal to get a body out within 3 gens or 2 gens to make the game favor towards you, to be able to at least collect 1 to 2 and hopefully 3 or 4 bodies.
Yeah, I mean, Vora breaks it down perfectly. I think that I've already tried to explain this sort of like the reason why tunneling happens in the first place. I think numerous times on this channel, we've already covered somebody who literally stated that tunneling is an exploit, and we've covered that in a full hour-long breakdown. We've covered that video, right, in the past. Then we covered it again recently. So it goes without saying, like, we'll use that as a reference because I don't really think we need a third video going into the entire like breakdown, because for some reason people just don't understand like how the game works. Fact of the matter is, by removing your entire ability, which, mind you, this perk completely destroys any strategy you have, you're kind of left with on the back foot, and you pretty much are in a situation where no one's gonna die, because you literally need to either be playing like a very strong killer and also be an expert, I would imagine, at that character to be able to even keep up, I would say. Because if you're even less than an expert with a character who doesn't even have mobility and stuff like that, and then Shoulder the Burden's in play, time's running out and they reset all your progress, yet their progress continues to push forward. That's as simple as you can put it. Because if you're looking at 4 hooks, right, 1 each, no one's dead, and there's 2 gens left, that's it. GG's. Like, you don't have enough time. The only thing you can maybe bank on is if you could try to get a 4 down, but that requires them to fumble pretty badly. And if you're going against a team that isn't new to the game and have already dedicated their match to just rushing the gens out at the speed of light, because apparently that's the only interesting thing you can do on Survivor, then it's just kind of over. Like, there really isn't much gameplay. And I find it really funny because they tried to say like tunneling is a problem, but the equivalent really is the speed of these gens. Like, they like to say, but oh, you don't get, like, the Survivor doesn't get to play. I'm like, but yet the other 3 can, and they can fly out the gate scot-free. the survivors still can play. I mean, they're quite literally forced to play the game. They're not going to sit in a bush all day. They have to run away from the killer. So I'm not, and so it really starts to make me wonder, like, what do they mean by they don't play the game? Because by definition, they're forced to play the game. They can't AFK in a locker or a bush. So, like, that's already number one. But even furthermore, you're also removing the ability for the killer to play the game. Because if the match is ending in less than 5 minutes, then what time does he have to do anything? He'll probably either, depending if he's on a character with setup, will have to spend maybe, let's say, some time setting up. Maybe he starts to look for somebody. Here's like 1 to 2 gens fly. Gets into 1 chase. Maybe can get the down. Probably can't because of pallet density. And then 2 more gens fly. He can potentially maybe go for somebody else. And then the game's over. So the equivalent is there. Like, they like to... But what I find funny is that within the DBD community, a killer's experience doesn't matter, but somehow one single survivor's does. But they're both one person playing the game, but somehow because they're picking the other side, oh, they don't matter. It makes no sense. It really doesn't. Because you hear that a lot. They love to say that the tunneling is the issue, but what about the gen speed? Right? Both ways, there's a player not playing the goddamn game in their logic, we'll say. By using their logic, technically speaking, there's always going to be somebody not able to play. That's just seemingly how it goes.
Shoulder the burden completely takes the killer's pressure away in a snap of a finger. Good teams, and the fact that you can shoulder the burden injured is another thing I want to discuss. It takes away one half of, they get exposed. But the fact that they can pull injured, they're technically already exposed in the first place. I just don't understand why it's like that.
That is a good point. I do think that would actually, if the devs are actually trying to create a good game and not the slop fest that they have right now, that would be a really good rework for that perk. Make it so that you have to be healthy. You have to be healthy to shoulder the burden. There's no reason you should be injured and you can just take it for free. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Mind you, the exposed is a status effect applied, which can be reduced by vigil. Then we consider pallet density and map size, and you're basically having no consequence. And that's the funny part about the sort of the burden perk, is like the fact that they like to say, oh, but that's the downside. Oh, you're exposed. It's like, but the only characters that are fast enough to go over there are characters with M2 abilities. So that would leave what? Every other character who has an M1, because that's where exposed actually can down you. They won't be able to catch up to you. So shoulder the burden still just is basically just a free perk. It just is. Because they say that the consequence is there to try to shift it away so that they don't get their favorite perk, like, brought down to the balanced state that it should be. Mind you, behavior's logic when trying to nerf these perks is nerfing these, like, I've noticed this with killer. If there's a killer perk that gets used too often, they'll nerf it immediately. Yet sprint burst, lithe, or balance, or vigil, or dead hard, or decisive, or whatever it may be, can have the highest pick rates in the game, and they will never be patched. They never have been touched. Sprint burst, being currently meta as it has been for a while, probably one of the highest pick perks in the game, hasn't been touched in years. I think it's been like, what, 10 years now, if you consider the anniversary event, right? 10 years. The perk hasn't been touched. So I really don't understand. Like, the writing's on the wall. It's like everything points to the fact that they only favor survivor. And any time that you hear somebody saying, oh, but they favor the killers, their examples are flimsy. Like, there's no evidence to prove those things. Their only form of evidence currently that I've heard at this point was, oh, but Blight can streak. And it's like, the only person that's even reached that number was a comp player with 10k plus hours, has more experience than every other killer player. There are no killer players that just have never played Blight that can log in and just start streaking on Blight immediately. That just doesn't happen. That just doesn't happen. But they like to pretend that it does. And it's like, no, that doesn't make sense. But they like to, like, the fact that they have to use mental gymnastics to reach that conclusion versus when we look at how they favor Survivor, everything's written in concrete. It's given to us. All of it is there. Like, you just have to look at it. Like, you don't even have to take this, oh, but technically, but actually, but you just look at it. It's there. I've done it on stream. I played a match. I looked at my perks. I looked at their perks. I'm like, yo, look at this perk. Notice how my perk says you have to first be in range. You have to down them, and then it only hits for this amount, i.e. surge. We look at their perk. It's like, oh, it just gives you this. There's no, oh, activate it with this. It doesn't say it lasts for this long. Nope. It's active. And you're probably thinking, damn, which perk is it? Because there's probably so many that work like that. What are we talking about, bro? These perks make no sense. The balancing makes no sense. And it's all there. Look at the perks. Look at the balancing. Look at the patch notes. Look at the kill rates on Nightlight. And on top of that, the fact that they're not escaping is diabolical because you have so much handholding built into the game. It just makes you wonder, like, how do you manage to lose? Like, what are you doing that's causing you to lose? And if it's your teammates, then hey, then they're bad at the game. Wonderful. Like, you have an explanation, but still.
It's a perk that should have never came to the game. It's a perk that should be reworked immediately. It's banned in most comp tournaments because of the strength that it holds. It can completely wipe the pressure away and a strategy away from a killer in one single perk slot. There's not 4 single killer perks in the game that can equal 1 shoulder the burden. It's not possible.
That's 100% correct. Vora makes an extremely good comparison there because there is no killer perk or perks that even come remotely close to what Shoulder the Burden is capable of. It just doesn't exist. Shoulder the Burden completely removes the pressure from somebody dying. At any point, just doesn't even matter. At any point, if somebody's about to die, that pressure is completely removed by spreading the hook to somebody completely without hooks. And it's pointless at that point to even continue to go after that person because now they're given not only a second chance, but a third opportunity to be able to get away. Because they're off the hook and they already are going to have their second chance perks. It's insanity. Absolutely insane. It completely removes the entire pressure, effort, all that time and energy you dedicated to downing this person is now being removed from you. Can you imagine if there was a killer perk that at any point that can be activated? Say you hook the same person twice or the other 2 people twice, some nonsensical like bullshit ass like requirement. Whatever. Let's make it extremely equal here. Let's say you hook one person for the first time. The perk will activate and completely remove the progress of a gen, increasing the amount that you have to do on Survivor. So let's say you're at 4 gens, it goes up to 5. Let's say you're at 3, it goes up to 4. And let's get even crazier. Let's say that it was at 5, it goes up to 6 gens you have to do. A new gen will open up and you'll have to finish that one too. And say every time they hook somebody, that's what happens. Another gen gets added to your match. That is the equivalent. And if that were ever added into the game, DBD, Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, forums would be exploding, losing their minds. This is not fair. But yet somehow when they give it to the killers, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't make any sense, but that's the equivalent. You take all that effort and throw it out the window and then say, here you go. And then they wonder why killer players don't play anymore. Then they wonder why all that are left are probably the blight mains that want to sweat. It doesn't make any sense. It's like a punishment that you're good at the game at this point, especially as a killer. Like, what are we talking about? And then, of course, if you're experienced with Survivor and you like the challenge, that is also gone too. They've added so much handholding that players that do main Survivor that actually enjoy like the interesting aspects, the sort of risk in chase and things like that are now removed. So like you're pushing away Survivor players and killer players at the very same time, which is hilarious to me. But I'm curious to hear what you guys think in the comment section. And also check out Vora's video, check out the rest of it. It's linked in the description. Also check out my other channels for my video essays and Marvel Rivals content. And don't forget, you can become a member on YouTube or Patreon to help, support, so we can actually start to make the shift over to like our other content, because DBD slap sucks. I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, let's go ahead and read off these wonderful members. We got Patreon, Crow Vader. All my YouTube members, Brando, Evil Blade, Cap Courteous, WTF You're Not J-Lo, Evil Peach, Hargan Falcon, Dole Whip, Noxus, Zero Mocker, Jack, Christian, and Crow Vader. Really appreciate you guys supporting, man. And if you also subbed on Twitch, just know that you got love coming your way too. Appreciate you guys, man.